The roar of the crowd died like a gut punch when Samuel's knee hit the mud-soaked turf of Eisenhower High's football field. His captain's jersey caked in the grime of our final game. "Alex," he gasped into the megaphone, voice raw over the crackling speakers. "You're the only one who sees the plays before they break. Lead us or we're done." Joseph exploded from the sidelines, cleats churning divots in the grass. His quarterback's arms slung back like he was hurling a Hail Mary.
"Bullshit, Sam.
You've been whispering poison about him to the scouts." "Alex, he's using you to bury me." I stood there, clipboard trembling in my hands, the scent of wet earth and crushed dreams choking me. Because in that electric hush under the floodlights, two empires had just declared war over a kid like me, who couldn't even make the JV squad. It started small, the way these things do in a nowhere town like Elmwood, Ohio, where Friday nights mean bonfires and gridiron gods, and the rest of us are just footnotes in the yearbook. I'm Alex Rivera, 17 going on invisible. The guy who tutors calc in the library, sketches play diagrams in the margins of my notebooks, and fades into the bleachers like fog off Lake Erie. My mom's a nurse pulling doubles at the ER. Dad's a ghost since the divorce. Left when I was 12, muttering about finding himself in California. So I keep my head down, my grades up, and my secrets buried. The way my pulse stutters when a guy's laugh hits just right, or how I've always wondered if love feels like the ache after a long run. Eisenhower High was split down the middle that fall, Samuel Kane's crew versus Joseph Hale's. Sam captained defense, all brooding intensity and linebacker build, with eyes like storm clouds and a smile that could disarm a riot. He'd grown up next door to the tracks, foster kid turned gridiron savior, the kind of guy who quoted Maya Angelou in team huddles to fire us up. Joseph was a fence's golden boy, corn-fed quarterback from the East Side farms, blonde hair perpetually windswept, with a preacher's son charisma that made cheerleaders swoon and teachers forgive tardies. They weren't just rivals. They were the yin-yang of Elmwood football, best friends once, until junior year, when a fumble in the playoffs cracked their bond like cheap porcelain. I stumbled into their orbit by accident. Or fate if you believe in that Hallmark crap. It was 2 weeks before the season opener, and Coach Harlan had me charting stats for extra credit. My one ticket out of this Rust Belt trap, aiming for a scholarship to OSU. I was in the film room, projector humming like a distant train, when the door banged open. Samuel stormed in, helmet under his arm, sweat beading on his forehead like he'd run suicides for hours. "Rivera, right? The brainiac scout." His voice was gravel and honey, and up close he smelled like turf and resolve. I nodded, mute as a fish, while he paced, replaying footage of last year's loss to Riverton. "See that blitz? We got torched because no one called the audible. You're always scribbling those, what do you call, ghost plays." I mumbled something about hypotheticals, but he grabbed my notebook, flipping pages with calloused fingers. His eyes lit up like 4th of July sparklers. "Holy shit, Alex. This is gold. Defensive webs, trap sets. It's like you see the field's soul." By midnight, he'd convinced me to run drills with the D-line, not as a player, but as the shadow coach whispering adjustments from the sidelines. It felt electric, dangerous. His hand clapping my shoulder a beat too long. The way he'd linger after, asking about my sketches or why I drew the lake so stormy. Word spread like wildfire through the locker room vents. Joseph caught wind during lunch the next day, cornering me by the vending machines with that easy grin masking shark teeth. "Heard Kane's poaching talent. You got an eye for the game, Rivera? Come on. Offense needs a wizard like you." Imagine threading needles through their lines. He was smoother than Sam, all honey drawl and farm boy charm, slipping me a mixtape of Springsteen tracks for inspiration. We started meeting in the AG barn after school, him tossing passes while I mapped routes on graph paper, his laughter booming when I'd nail a prediction. At first, it was harmless. 2 captains, 1 ordinary kid bridging their worlds. I'd shuttle between practices, feeding Sam counters to Joe's plays, and vice versa, like some neutral Switzerland in shoulder pads. The team thrived. We went 4-0 early, whispers of playoffs buzzing like cicadas. But under the surface, the current pulled harder. Samuel's notes started appearing in my locker. "You make chaos make sense." "Dinner after the Riverton game?" Joseph's came folded like love letters. "Saw you sketching the sunset. Reminds me of you, quiet fire. Coffee run?
J.
My stomach twisted every time. A cocktail of thrill and terror. I'd never kissed a guy. Never even admitted the dreams that woke me sweating. Strong arms? Whispered confessions under stadium lights. Was this flirting? Brotherhood? In Elmwood, where the church steeple looms taller than the water tower and "that's gay" is still casual shrapnel. I didn't dare name it. But they did, subtly, fiercely, competing not just for my strategies but for me. Sam with his quiet intensity, sharing stories of foster homes and the brother he lost to the streets. His hand brushing mine over playbooks like it was the most natural anchor. Joe with bold gestures, driving me home in his beat-up F-150. Radio low as he confessed his dad's sermons felt like chains. His knee pressing mine on the bench seat. The fracture came mid-season, against Central Catholic. We were down 21-14 in the fourth. Rain sheeting the field like God's own wrath. Sam's defense held the line, but Joe's arm faltered. Interception, fumble, the works. In the huddle, eyes locked on me from both ends. Sam's plea for a stall tactic, Joe's for a deep bomb. I called the hybrid fake left, punch right, and it worked, tying the game with seconds left. The stands erupted, but backstage, the storm brewed. After, in the empty locker room, steam curling from the showers like cigarette smoke, Joseph cornered Samuel. I was toweling off, pretending not to hear, when Joe's voice sliced the air. You fed him my signals, didn't you? That slant was mine. You stole it through your little pet project. Sam's laugh was bitter flint. Pet? Alex isn't a pawn, Hale. He's the real deal. You're just scared he'll see through your farm fresh facade. Fists clenched, inches apart. The air thick with betrayal's metallic tang. I bolted, heart slamming. But not before Sam's eyes met mine. Hurt, hungry, a silent choose. The next week cracked wide open. Scuttlebutt flew. Joseph had leaked Sam's foster records to the local rag, painting him as unstable to sway boosters for starting QB duties. Sam retaliated, tipping off Coach about Joe's off-field distractions. Code for the rumors of him sneaking beers at the quarry with the cheer squad. But it was deeper, uglier. Joseph confessed to me in the AG barn, voice breaking, that he'd seen Sam and me laughing too close after practice, jealousy twisting like barbed wire. I thought we had something, Alex. Real. Not this shadow game. Samuel confronted me on the rooftop that same night, city lights smearing below like fallen stars. Wind howled off the lake, whipping his jacket. He's lying to poison us. I told Coach about the leaks, had to protect the team. Protect you. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb tracing my cheekbone, breath warm against the chill. I see you, Alex. Not the ordinary kid, the leader who could change everything. With me. Our lips hovered, a heartbeat from collision, when tires crunched below. Joseph, bursting through the access door, face ashen. You son of a... He lunged, but I stepped between, the chain link digging into my back. Rain started then, fat drops blurring the world, turning the rooftop into a slick stage for their unraveling. Samuel shoved forward, accusations flying. Joseph's leaks weren't just strategy. They were personal, dredging Sam's past to break him because he couldn't stand losing you. Joseph roared back, tears mixing with rain. You're the one who started it, whispering to scouts that I'm uncommitted. All because I kissed him first in the truck. Wait, kissed? My world tilted. Neither had told me that night in the F-150 was more than a charged silence. Joe's lips had grazed mine in the dark, tentative, electric. And Sam? He'd pulled me into a hug after a win. Foreheads touching. A promise unspoken. Betrayal layered on betrayal. They'd both claimed pieces of me in secret, wielding my leadership as a veil for their war. I was no strategist. I was collateral, a prize in their king's gambit. Stop! My shout cracked the thunder. They froze, rain carving rivers down their faces. Samuel's green eyes shattered glass. Joseph's blue a drowning sea. I'm not a playbook. Not your edge. I'm just me. And you both made me feel seen, but this isn't leadership. It's destruction. Words tumbled out, raw as the storm. How Sam's vulnerability had cracked my walls, his stories mirroring my dad's absence. How Joe's fire had ignited dreams I buried, his confessions echoing my hidden heart. But their rivalry poisoned the well, turning affection into ammunition. Samuel reached first, hand trembling. Alex, But Joseph cut in, voice a whisper. We were idiots. Brothers first, remember? For him. They turned to me, not as captains, but boys, flawed, fierce, achingly human. The fight drained, leaving only the rain's rhythm and the weight of what we'd almost lost. We didn't kiss that night. Instead, we talked, hours bleeding into dawn, huddled against the fence, truth spilling like the downpour. Samuel admitted the leaks were a desperate bluff. Born of fear, I'd choose Joe's light over his shadows. Joseph owned the records, a vengeful lash from jealousy that clawed his preacher's guilt. And me? I confessed the terror of wanting them both, not as a trophy, but as anchors in my ordinary drift. The way Sam's steadiness grounded me, Joe's spark lit me up. But love, real love, isn't a competition. It's a team. The climax hit at homecoming, under those same floodlights. We were 7-2, playoffs looming, but the real game was off-field. In the pregame huddle, Samuel and Joseph flanked me. Not as rivals, but co-captains, hands on my shoulders. Your call, Alex, Sam murmured. Lead us. I did. A play fusing their strengths. Sam's iron wall, Joe's aerial strike. Sealing a 28-24 win as the crowd chanted not their names, but mine. After, in the empty stands, we three sat shoulder to shoulder, steam rising from the field like prayers. No grand gestures, just quiet truths. Samuel's fingers laced with mine first, tentative. Joseph's joined, a bridge across the divide. It wasn't a fairy tale fix. Jealousy lingers like old bruises, and Elmwood's whispers would test us. But in that humanistic grace, we chose rebuilding over ruin. Therapy for Sam's scars, church talks for Joe's chains, and for me, the courage to claim my voice. Turns out, ordinary kids can lead revolutions, not with touchdowns but with hearts brave enough to heal. And in the heartland's quiet pulse, under endless Midwest skies, we learned that love's true play isn't won alone. It's shared, scarred, and savagely worth it.